So Tokyo Ghoul is truly coming down to this end game. Um, from what I could tell, we are going to be seeing quite an interesting turn of events this next week's episode. Kamaki has supposedly been found by by Toka, um, and because of that, I think we have a good chance of, seeing him maybe in a whole new transformation from what I was just looking at, or maybe he has lost even more um, than we can tell within this little like glimpse of Kimito. Okay, wow, I am off right now. I'm so sorry. Kamaki in the previews has been pulled out from what I could tell, and he has this interesting mark on his eye that I don't understand why it would be there just from turning into the centipede or whatever. So not only is there that, there's also the fact that as soon as we got the confirmation of Kamaki pretty much seemingly getting rescued in the previews, we also see that Rize is really the bigger pushing point within this episode that is kind of like the hidden meaning behind it all type of deal. So with her uh, showing up now, it kind of draws the narrative of if she's here, what could happen overall with the story. Just because we already know that if Rize really wants to take over at this point, she might have already done it. She might be the reason why it went into such an outrageous, like, giant centipede looking monster. Because when she takes over, she doesn't care. She doesn't care about the collateral damage. Collateral damage isn't something that Rize ever worried about. So it would only make sense that someone who isn't Kamaki probably took over the wheels of driving and caused this super huge mayhem. Um, But even after seeing all this, it's pretty cool to know that we've only known, um, we've only known Rize through like a little bit of information. So to know that she could still possibly be here and maybe has something to say, towards like the end of this episode and stuff would be pretty awesome just to hear, what might have been going through her mind when she's been watching all this. Not to mention, she definitely probably experienced the whole um, Toka and Kamaki getting it on moment. So, I mean, she's a part of them. So that's just how these things work. Um, so I thought that was pretty funny that not only did she like experience everything that Kamaki was experiencing, unless she's like an imaginary friend that Kamaki made at a point. Which, I mean, and I don't mean like imaginary friend like she's never existed at all. I mean, he might have created the persona of her being alive still, and it's pretty much fake, and he just got to overcome it. But given how strong some people really see other people, you usually give someone more credit than either they deserve, or if you give them so much credit, how can you see yourself defeating them if you don't think you are as strong or as, powerful and stuff like that? How do you come out with a win against someone that you think is better than you? And that's kind of what I feel like is going on with these characters. Just Kamaki being inside there and allowing this to pretty much happen kind of grants the word of whatever is happening. He clearly isn't in control. Um, and if what quick hide. Okay. Oh, I gotta use whatchamacallit. Um, but yeah, if we're going to see the end of like Kamiki, that would be pretty messed up. If this whole entire story kind of just ends with him like dying, I don't think anybody would expect that. Um, Including with this giant centipede monster that is kind of always a present because comic it lives inside of Kamiki, So if that's the case, not only are we pretty much, like screwed in the sense of we can't just stop Kamiki from destroying everything, um, we pretty much have to either A, take him out, or B, allow him to live with that crazy amount of power that can go off the rails. And I feel like the CCG, even though we do work with them this week's episode and we form the ultimate alliance just to see some of those guys getting taken out by like some fodder characters that Kamiki like spits out. Half of them were just getting bodied by those people. So it's funny to me that um, they pretty much plan on taking care of they plan on taking care of Kamiki and somehow saving him from this, but at the same time, just by trying to save him, um, there's going to be a lot of loss, I feel like, in the progress. And if a whole bunch of people die trying to save a man who probably doesn't want to be saved, uh, I mean, openly, he probably doesn't even think he's worth being saved. That's just how Kamiki sometimes gets down. Uh, but seeing this episode and just really taking him out of the picture and kind of putting everybody else in the spots to fill in the blanks to kind of understand where all this is coming from, I wasn't surprised to see that no one really cared, like as many people cared until someone who really cared, shared his opinion on just how it's supposed to be or how he expected things to go. And everybody gets a whole new perspective. He loved the humans. He really wanted to see both ghouls and humans live and coincide together. But as things go, this just sometimes it's just not possible. And Kamiki is the perfect example of trying to breach the gap and pretty much losing himself uh, because he had to hold back, because he wanted it all to work out, that really can backfire and mess you up. So the more and more we learn about how the ghouls and how the humans see each other, it almost makes it apparent that it seemingly just will never work unless they put a whole bunch of stuff aside, which they don't seem to want to do that in the first place. So we'll just have to watch and see if that's the case, because man, this week's episode could have been crazy. I mean, I'm kind of happy they took care of one of the characters at least this week, with Mutsuki being, at least brought back to Earth, brought back to her senses and stuff like that, because she was gone. Like she's lost it, and to know that she's at least got the people that she needs to be around her right now, that's awesome. But man, that rough. She, I want to die. I deserve to die. Why am I not dead? I should be dead. Like, holy crap. All right, let's kill her. You did this to Kamiki. You deserve to die. But I honestly thought Juuzou was gonna say something like smart and maybe want to fight the ghouls or something. But I'm really glad that he seemingly would be a better choice of having like close to being the leader. Like he obviously isn't gonna take any sides. Like if a ghoul's in the wrong, he's gonna beat the ghoul up. If the human's in the wrong, he'll beat the human up. And that's just how I see Juuzou as a character. And that's what someone also like kind of gave me a hint to that I was right. Like Juuzou doesn't really care about the ghouls, or he doesn't really care about the humans either. He just wants to do what he wants to do, and at this point of time, after all the stuff that's happened, the only thing he wants to do is try to make the person that kind of made him feel the most like a human, made him feel most like someone instead of just something. He wants to make that person happy, and that person is pretty much in a coma, like unconscious, and I don't know, man. It just sucks that his character truly thinks that the only way he can do certain things to make someone happy is by doing what he's doing right now. And we as anime viewers, we know that. Well, I mean, as Tokyo Ghoul viewers, anyway, we know that this isn't what the guy wanted of Juzo. He just wanted Juzo to pretty much. I mean, he did want him to kill ghouls. Don't get me wrong, but he wanted him to kill them for for the right reasons, and that was to protect over than just, oh, I want to kill ghouls because killing is fun. Like he wanted him to feel like he had some type of accomplishment of doing something for someone instead of just straight up outright bodying people because that was fun to him. I mean, he started out with ants and then now he's got ghouls, so he's always had something to kill, and that's just where this character kind of was like, oh man, he's got it pretty rough. This kid's pretty nutty. Um, but of course, with him being in this episode and showing his wounds, and also having everybody on his squad coming out alive after the attack they launched on the wedding, I mean, how much more do you need to know that the ghouls clearly aren't as bad as you? Because, shoot, the humans don't even need to be having a wedding for the ghouls to attack, or for the ghouls, for the CCG to attack and act like everything they're doing is, saving people or helping the world and stuff like that. So it's this really interesting, weird way of showing that the ghouls have always been like the way they are, but at the same time, they usually been doing it for a reason compared to the CCG who does it because the ghouls have done something. They never do anything unless it's reacting or catching up to something that's already been done and bad. So um, I love seeing characters have to naturally like accept their flaws or accept that whoever was above them giving them the orders to do things was always corrupt, and that do they even know if they did the right thing by following orders at those times. That's the type of like weird arguments now that they can have within like the ghouls and the CCGs. Like the people you were working for straight up were pretty practically ghouls, and not only were they ghouls, they didn't even want you guys to win. They were doing everything they wanted to do for their own reasons. Not to mention the person that actually wanted Kamaki to turn into this and become what he became, literally just escapes this week's episode and just walks away. So when I said at the beginning, like, we're coming close to the end, it's more like the close to the end of understanding just what is going on with Kamaki, and I feel like if there is more story to be told, just like, I mean, come on, are they really? I'm guessing they're gonna have to kill off the whole entire clan of these other ghoul guys within like 2, 3 episodes, if that's what they're actually trying to say. If there isn't any more Tokyo Ghoul re-coming, if it stops at season 2, or if it's just gonna stop at season 2 because the fandom, like they just don't see any reason to continue the story if everybody's already hating on what they're getting already. Why continue, So I'm not 100% sure of where the show's going to go with the handling of the actual ending of this season. So that is another reason in itself just to be like on point and watching to see like what will this group of people who are making the show actually do. Um, with having the criticism out there, with it, and it being pretty open and one-sided that Tokyo Ghoul is just not a good anime to people. So when they hear that, what do they do when they have results that may say otherwise? Is pretty much where I'm at now, and it's another thing to invest a lot of time in a show that has a future to it later on, but it's really hard to invest in a show that everybody hates when you invest in it, and then when you invest too much into it, you might lose a standing of people that literally just wanted you to trash it and get it over with, compared to actually be real and give it a chance, unlike other people who already have not given it a chance. So, like I was always saying in my videos, guys, never let anyone change the way you see something. Never let someone change like the overall fact. If they think something is dumb and you like it, why would you change just to hate it because of someone else? Is my argument to like a lot of people who do that. And not only do they do that, they then do it and, pass on the message of the person that pretty much trashed whatever you like, and then you pretty much give them the benefit of the doubt of, oh yeah, he said all those things, but he was right, so now I'm gonna go around and tell everybody that. So it's like that's just not me, Like I'm gonna keep it 100. If I like something, I liked it. If I didn't, I didn't. I'm gonna tell you. And I think that's what most people should be about. But I mean, I understand you can't be about it if the only reason why you were making content in the first place was to cater to a certain audience and cater to certain people. So, yeah, with all that being said, everybody, I hope you have a great day slash night, and I will talk to you all in the next one if you guys do choose so to stop by to ya boy, the Anime G. Um, I really want to know what you guys are looking forward to. Uh, if there's something you guys want to see in Tokyo Ghoul Re, let me know in the comments down below. If there's something that actually could possibly pop off that even, this show hasn't really touched upon. Um, if so, I would like to know. And if the show is going to end and the way it is, doesn't it not seem like Kamaki could be one of the problems of the whole entire show with his abilities? And wouldn't that lead him to being executed? So let me know in the comments down below, and I will talk to you guys in the next one, or just let me know in the comments why you don't like anything that happened. Anything you guys talk about, I am down to have a discussion with you or whatever. So with that, everybody, take care and peace.